How to magnetize your Warhammer infantry models.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to magnetize your Warhammer infantry models. We have a lot of guides on how to magnetize models here on the channel, but today it's specifically about infantry models. So like I said, over on, well, here on the channel and also written up article-wise over on the site, we have a ton of different article options, basically for just about everything, I think, at this point, to be honest with you. If it isn't a review of a kit for a specific miniature, we have something just general, down to how to store your miniatures and magnetize them, the bases, and all sorts of guides from things like the larger giant models to knights in 40k, down to even the tiniest Titan models that are out there. So, oh, and flying stands too, because those things can be super annoying. But let's take a look in the basic how-to on infantry models, which seems to be the majority of what folks are looking for currently. So before we get started, I wanted to lay out each and every thing that you may or may not need, depending on what you're looking to do or how involved you're looking to get, or just how big your project is in general. So first off, you obviously need glue. I use the BSI, Bob Smith Industries, thick. It's the purple cap, basically, is what they used to call it, but now it's just a purple label, and some zip kicker, Instaset, whatever you want to call it. You can pretty much find this just about anywhere. A thumbtack, and I'll explain more about that here in a second, and just a random base to actually dribble the kicker onto your magnets inside of something so it doesn't get all over your workspace, which can get kind of wild. And then you can have any sort of power tools that you need. I use the quick release bits. So I have three different options here. I have a larger Makita kind of driver thing. I've got a, I don't know, this is something I just got off Amazon that it's just easier to use sometimes because it drills straight down. We've got the WOW stick here, which is great. I've talked about this in the past, and you'll see me using this here in a second. And just your normal pin vise, but very, very large. And this accommodates these quick set or quick release bits. And then here's the two different sizes for infantry, basically 3/16 inch or 1/8 inch right here. You're gonna need magnets. This I need to restock from Magnet Baron. I don't have too many left right here, but I usually get all my stuff from Magnet Baron just because I know they're always gonna be the same. Speaking of bits, you can also use woodworking bits because, I mean, it's plastic. And what's nice about woodworking bits is they have the little, well, I don't know what the point at the end we'll call it, that really helps guide into the pilot holes that I'm going to talk about here in the next parts of this video. But they have all the sizes that you're going to need, and they're a little bit shorter too, so they give you a little bit more, you know, instead of trying to balance it. You might notice too that when you spin this, you're going to get a lot of oscillation. So unfortunately, sometimes it's a little harder to guide at higher speeds, because you can see this is kind of like going left and right as it goes. But with these guys here, which is really nice, is you don't get a lot of that because they're so short, and they're just going to get in there, and you're just going to be able to kind of hammer down and get those spaces drilled out, which is a huge benefit. You can use pin vices, of course, but it's really hard. I mean, once you start getting up around 1/8 inch, it's really hard to find past 1/8 inch, like drill bit or pin vices that accommodate those kind of sizes. So you kind of have to go to a higher size. But these are great just to have on hand, just to drill out bolters and things like that, and make pilot holes or expand on pilot holes if you need. But I prefer the little thumbtack here that we're about to talk about. So let's get into the actual tutorial itself. So here's how we do magnets. And the process is the same whether you're doing it for like Terminators or, you know, any sort of a character or something like that, like we did with the Jump Pack Captain here when he came out recently. Now, the only difference is you just use different size magnets. So for these guys here, you're going to want to use 1/8 magnets, 1/8 inch magnets by 1/16 in depth, right? And it's very easy to do, and then you end up having a whole bunch of different options here. Now, the only thing that you're going to need is extra shoulder pads, but I don't think it's very hard to find extra marine shoulder pads. And when it comes to Terminators, though, it is a little bit harder, but one of the options you have is the upgrade sets. Now, for Ultramarines, there is extra shoulder pads on the Ultramarine upgrade sprue that's sold separately this week, or actually comes in the Combat Patrol. But that being said, you can also get any sort of 3D printed options out there. There's so many, I don't even know where to start. They got generic stuff, they got not generic stuff. Realistically, you just need a crux on the actual left shoulder pad, but you know, you don't have to have a crux. And then just a blank for whatever chapter you want on the right shoulder pad. But you can mix and match and do whatever you want, you know, go crazy, who cares? So once you get started here, let's go over the tools first and the different size magnets that we're going to be using for this. So for Terminators, well, you got two different options technically. You could go with 1/4" magnets right here, which do technically fit in the sockets, right? But the problem is that they're not going to fit in the arms, because some of the arms have the little grooves or the little webbing or whatever you want to call it in between the joints, that it's actually gonna well, it's probably you're gonna see these when you put them in. So I think it gets drilled out. So the best, or at least what I found works pretty good, is 3/16" magnets by 1/16 for anything basically bigger than a standard Marine. And so you could use these on, like, you know, Primarchs and stuff, although I don't know why you'd ever magnetize a Primarch, but for the most part, Terminator and Aggressor type larger models, stuff like that, this is probably what you're going to want to use. So we're going to use these for this. Now, when it comes to tools, I mean, you can use pin vices and stuff, and I definitely recommend it. But what I found makes things happen very accurately is to use, whether you're using a pin vise or this really sweet wow stick here that's motorized, or any of these pin vices. I just keep a bunch laying around so I can drill out magnet holes and things, or bolters. But what you really want to do is first get in here with a nice sharp point, and that can be either with a pin or a knife. I personally prefer a thumbtack, because what a thumbtack does is it gives you pretty precise control here, but also you don't ruin the point of your model knife either. So you're just going to want to come in here and make a nice, well, drop a piece of your model off there. You're just going to make a nice solid pilot hole, or pre-pilot hole, I suppose, for your pin vise to come in and start drilling. So once you get that nice little point, then the magic can happen. So you can grab our motorized devices to save us even more time here, like this wow stick, and then we're just going to get in here and we're going to make an actual pilot hole. Boom, just like that. Same over here, to give our even bigger drill something to grip onto. Oh man, my glue is coming apart at the seams. So a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because now we can talk about in here. So actually inside here, you can put magnets and things for magnetizing the Terminator rocket pod right here, because there's actually a magnet up in this one. And what's even cooler is, if you really want to, there's a Ultramarine U upgrade on this new Ultramarine, and I think the Blood Angel one too, on the new upgrade set. So you can get really cool and customize your squads depending on how you want to do that, you know, when you assemble these. But we'll talk about that in the instructions as well. Wow, it really is no joke. This keeps falling apart. Okay, all right, so then once we get that drilled out, now we can come in, like I said, with the bigger tools, like our our actual power driller, because this is our 3/16" drill bit right here, and we're gonna get in here and drill this out. But you need a good pilot hole, because when this is going, it's kind of moving, so you want to be at a low speed. I usually use the drill setting here. Every drill is different, I suppose, but and a lot of times once you get to that point, you can just kind of twist it by hand, and that's going to give you a nice clean hole for your magnet to go into. And then we're going to get to how to do actual magnets. So the first step to magnetization is super important, and that is, if you have other parts that are already magnetized, you want to make sure you match the polarization. Now, Magnet Parent has these cool little magnicators to help keep track of all that, but I misplaced mine. So we're going to just use our storm bolter from our normal terminators. So I know that the magnets need to go in like this. So I'm just gonna leave that on there. Then I'm gonna grab some accelerator, kicker, Instaset, whatever you wanna call it. I'm gonna unscrew the cap and dab a bunch out onto some magnets right here. And we wanna make sure that we do it in something that, you know, will catch it so the liquid doesn't go everywhere. I don't spray it because then it gets airborne, it's all on everything, and it becomes a whole issue, which I don't really like. Then I'm gonna find the spot that I wanna magnetize. I'm just gonna take some glue, pop some glue in here. There's plenty of room for it to spread out, but I wanna make sure that I get glue around the whole thing here. Like around all of the outside of it. The whole inside cylinder there. And now we're just gonna take this and stick it in, try to get it flush. Definitely wanna open it a little too far. There we go. It's pretty flush, I think. And as it solidifies because of the kicker, you can tell because you can turn the magnet stack here. So we'll just spin the magnets for a second or two until we think we can get this off safely. And boom, we did. So we got our first magnet in, and we'll just start plugging and playing on the rest of the parts here. So then you should end up with something that looks like this, basically, and all of these here. So when you combine them together, you get super duper poses, and as long as you got them flush, they should socket in nice and easy. Now, oh, and then you can swap out for your lightning claws. And I just put an extra set of pads on there as well. But yeah, you're gonna wanna get some extra pads for whatever design you're going for your terminators there. And I did wanna mention something because I know somebody will say it in the comments, like, hey, what about the heraldry pads? Well, one, did you even notice the heraldry pads weren't on there? Because I've been building terminators for many years and I hardly ever notice if they're missing. So I've personally never had them because they kind of get in the way of future proofing, but yeah, it just basically glues on that spot right there. So you will have to glue it on to whatever you put this on here, but I leave these separated so you can, you know, airbrush them or just spray paint them a different color and then glue them all together at the very end, which I think is probably a little bit more efficient, but everybody's got their own system. This is just what works for me. Okay, so that's it. It's that easy to magnetize your infantry miniatures. Just have to multiply what we did right there times, I don't know, like 50. You know, I like to kind of zone out and obviously do that sort of thing when I'm, I don't know, watching football or some sort of TV show or something like that. It definitely kind of helps take the edge off there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely worth the time to future-proof your minis just because you're going to have them for so long, hopefully, and you know, you won't have to kind of rebuild everything after a rules edition change. So I'd rather spend the time now, get them all painted and be good to go rather than have to tear things apart and scratch my head when the rules change later on. But let me know what you think about it. Is it worth it to spend that time to magnetize your minis and future-proof them for, well, future rules changes? Thanks for watching. Supporting us is super easy. Just click on the article links provided, subscribe, or follow us right here. And remember, next time you're searching for the best Warhammer news, type Spiky Bits into Google to get the most accurate info. See you in the next one. Spiky Bits.